Today I'm going to talk about dyslexia and some of the more unknown symptoms of dyslexia. Because let's face it, if you grew up in the 90s or before that, the chances of you actually getting diagnosed with a learning disability are pretty low. 1 in 7 people has dyslexia, and it's on a sliding scale just like autism. You can have really severe dyslexia like I do, or just really minimal dyslexia. Dyslexia is also genetic, so if you have it, chances are your kids or one of your relatives might have it. I'm going to go ahead and assume that everybody knows the most common symptoms, which are difficulty spelling correctly and difficulty learning how to read. The first lesser-known symptom is being disorganized, and this results from most people with dyslexia having poor working memory or short-term memory. If you lose your keys a million times a day like I do, it might be because you're dyslexic. If someone tells you their phone number and you have to say it out loud over and over again until you get a chance to get to a piece of paper and a pen to write it down, you might be dyslexic. More in part 2. Really struggling with navigation is also another symptom of dyslexia. Back when I first started driving before GPS, I would have to drive to the place I was going to go and then back home and then to the next place and then back home because I couldn't figure out how to navigate from one place to another, so I always had to start from my house. GPS has saved me so much money and gas. If you had trouble memorizing things like your multiplication facts in school, it could be dyslexia. It's also very difficult for people with dyslexia to learn another language. People with dyslexia also tend to be a lot more creative. It results from a part of our brain becoming overdeveloped in order to compensate for the dyslexia. People with dyslexia are also usually very empathetic and very in tune with other people's emotions. People with dyslexia are also usually pretty clumsy. Dyslexia can also cause people to be self-conscious, have low self-esteem, and they can also become easily stressed out or overwhelmed. As a teacher, one of the biggest signs that we look for in a kid with dyslexia is that they seem very intelligent, very smart, yet when they take a test or when they're reading, those test scores and the results and their reading levels do not match how intelligent they come off. So if a lot of teachers told you that you were really smart but you constantly got low grades, that also might be a sign of dyslexia. None of the symptoms I've mentioned are exclusive to dyslexia, and I can't diagnose you with it. That's something that, a specialist would have to do, but it's something to be aware of. And even as an adult, if you feel like you might be dyslexic, sometimes it's still worth it to get a diagnosis. It can help you understand why you are the way that you are. And it can also help you forgive maybe some of the things that you viewed as shortcomings. Knowing can also help you recognize those symptoms in any children that you might have, so it's a good thing to be aware of. Thanks for listening.